Hello and welcome to Employ Your Minds, and welcome guys to a new video. On this occasion I would like to ask you a question before we start the video. Have you ever heard the following statements? He's super intelligent, he's got 2 degrees. Or, you won't accomplish anything if you don't go to college. Chances are you have, but now we're going to review the life of the 10 most influential people in the financial business without a college degree. Let's get to it. The current educational system is more focused on hoarding knowledge than it is on learning. 90% of students study on the last day before the exam, take the test, and soon after that, they forget everything. The origin of the current educational system is set in Prussia, a militarized system. If you pay attention to detail, schools kinda look like factories. Students are organized by age, just like stock in a warehouse. School hours are divided by an alarm, same as in factories. Students are force-fed with a great amount of knowledge, as if they were cattle, just to forget all of it later on. We are educated to follow a pattern, not to find new paths. In short, schools are huge production lines, and we are educated to be workers, not to be the owner of the factory. I am not saying it is bad to study, but quite the opposite. I support a lifelong learning, an education that is focused on personal development, to achieve personal fulfillment, which can be reached through formal or informal education. All I'm saying is that education is a key, and school is a lock. But what happens when a person breaks that lock and follows their instinct? Let's find out. Richard Branson. Richard Branson suffered dyslexia, which made things really hard for him at school, of which he dropped out at the age of 15, age at which he had already founded 2 companies. In 1972, he founded a record store known as Virgin Megastore. In the mid-70s, he met a musician named Mike Oldfield and his record Tubular Bells. Tubular Bells was a very unique record that struggled to find investors, and Mr. Branson decided to create a record label to publish this record. And this is how Virgin Records was born, and ever lost an empire with no signs of stopping. Sheldon Adelson. The son of Jewish immigrants from Eastern Europe, Mr. Adelson is considered a self-made man with a business vision since he was a kid. He grew up in a house with only 1 room during the Great Depression, and he dropped out of school at the age of 12. Despite not having a formal education and not knowing all that much about computers, in the 80s he went to create Comdex, a computer expo held in Las Vegas for a couple decades. Many of the influential people we will see in this video are in debt to Sheldon Adelson since they started marketing their computers and Comdex. Personally, I find it fascinating how a person with such limited computer knowledge could see the potential of that opportunity and venture into organizing an expo when almost nobody knew what a computer was. In 1996, Mr. Adelson sets a breaking point in the way he did business. Mr. Adelson raised the Sands Hotel in Las Vegas and spent $1.5 billion to build the Venetian, a Venice-themed resort, hotel, and casino that became the cornerstone of his business empire. Ka-shing. Born in China in 1928, Ka-shing is a businessman and senior advisor for CK Hutchison Holdings. In 1940, he fled to Hong Kong to avoid the turmoil China was going through at the time. It is at this time that Lee's father died, and he had to take on the responsibility to provide for his family, forcing him to drop out of school to find a job in a plastic factory, where he worked for 16 hours a day. In 1950, he created his own company, Hong Kong Industries, specialized in the manufacturing of plastic products. After that, he started investing the profits generated by the company on real estate, helping his company become the leader of its sector. Larry Ellison. Born in New York City to a 19-year-old single mother, Larry was given to his son for adoption and raised in Chicago. His Chicago home was a 2-bedroom apartment in South Shore, a mid-low-income neighborhood. Larry was a brilliant student, but struggled to pay attention, which added to the bereavement of his foster mother and made him drop out of Illinois University on his 2nd year. In 1977, and with just $1,400, Larry and his 2 partners founded Oracle, which is now considered as one of the best database and cloud engineer system companies, being the third largest software company by revenue. Michael Dell. One of the most well-known businessmen in the United States, started to become a doctor and dropped out of school very quickly. At the time he was 19, he thought it would be easy to improve on the quality of the computers at the time, so he started buying and stealing parts from computer manufacturers and used those parts to improve computers and sell them. By the age of 21, his company had a revenue of $60 million, and in 1985, his company produced their first own-designed computer, the Turbo PC, and had a total revenue of $71 million in its first year. Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg is a former Harvard computer science dropout who, along with a few friends, launched Facebook, the world's most popular social network, in February 2004. He also has the distinction of being the world's youngest billionaire, which he achieved in 2008 at the age of 24 and was named Man of the Year by Time magazine in 2010. David Karp. Son of a science teacher, dropped out of school at the age of 15 to start working on a project called Tumblr in 2006 to finally launch the platform in 2007, and the rest is history. Tumblr is a microblogging and social networking website that allows users to post multimedia and other content to a short-form blog. On May of 2013, Tumblr was sold to Yahoo for $1.3 billion. Amancio Ortega. Amancio Ortega is a Spanish business tycoon best known as the founder of the Inditex fashion group, parent company of the famous fashion brand Zara that has more than 6,000 stores in over 65 countries. He left school at the age of 14 to work for a local shirt maker. Soon after that, he opened a bathrobe store, and 3 years later opened the first Zara store. The rest is history, with the Inditex group owning several other renowned brands besides Zara, such as Zara Home, Massimo Dutti, Oysho and Pull & Bear, having over 90,000 workers. Bill Gates. William Henry Gates III, the son of a lawyer and a college teacher, created the software company Microsoft in 1975, being a Harvard student at the time. In 1976, he dropped out of Harvard, and his life changed in 1980 when he sold his OS, MS-DOS, to IBM. But the most striking part is that he didn't even have the OS at the time and had to buy it a few days later from a young programmer for a very low price. A massive play in the business world. His next master play was not selling MS-DOS to IBM, but receiving a small amount from every PC sold that had the OS installed on it. Thanks to this move, Bill Gates became a billionaire and monopolized the OS business for a very long time. Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs dropped out of college after 6 months due to the high fees of his studies. After that, he audited classes for the next 18 months, living on minimum wage jobs. In 1974, he gets a job in Atari, a video game company. His high school friend Steve Bosniak told Steve that he was thinking about building a computer, and Steve got intrigued. Together, they built the first Apple computer, the Apple I, in 1976, being the birth of Apple Computer Company. The rest is history. We live in a society in which a piece of paper is worth more than years of experience working in the same field, and that is a big mistake. The life of these people is a clear example that a college degree means a very small percentage on the road to success. There are other factors that are much more relevant, such as emotional intelligence, courage, and the instinct to follow your guts. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe and I will see you on the next video.